Good morning, Santa Clarita. Welcome in. You're listening to KHTS, your hometown station, 98.1 FM and 1220 AM. This is SCVi Charter Schools Eye in the Valley Homeschooling Answers. I'm Matt Watson, your host. Welcome in, welcome back. It is good to have you with us. For those of you that are safer at home this morning, you can tune in on Facebook if you've got your computer handy. Just hop on Facebook and check us out at KHTS Radio and click on the feed there. And you can watch our show as well as listen. While our campuses are closed, our school campuses in and around the Santa Clarita Valley and pretty much across the country, our students are at home, and KHTS, in collaboration with SCVi and iLEAD Schools, is bringing you this special edition of Eye on the Valley, Homeschooling Answers. We're here to support the work that you're doing with your kids, to be there for you as you maintain the growth and learning with your children. We're also here to help you take care of you. We've got to put our masks on first so that we can take care of those around us. Make sure that we're sharpening our saw, make sure that we're staying happy and healthy so that we can cultivate the same culture at our homes. We come to you live each morning at 9 a.m., providing you support and updates on this new distance learning adventure that we're all on. And we're also continuing to curate new resources that we're adding every day to our website. Go over to homeschoolinganswers.com and you can take a look at all different kinds of academic resources for your kids. You can search by grade level, by subject matter. We've also got parenting tips and all kinds of fun activities and engaging academic activities for your kids. Head on over to homeschoolinganswers.com. Not finding what you need there? Then shoot us an email at homeschoolinganswers@ileadschools.org. Send us an email and we will get right on whatever it is that you need, whether, again, it's academic, social, emotional, or help for parents. Just let us know what you need. Send us an email at homeschoolinganswers@ileadschools.org. Today we're going to be checking in with our Mayor, Cameron Smythe, again. He is our new Tuesday steady date, and we appreciate him coming in every week. He's going to be updating us on the latest in our city and the different changes that we've had taken place over the last week. We'll also be taking a deep dive into math with Amber Soto, Director of Mathematics Instruction for iLEAD Schools. And we will have our daily features to help keep you fueled as a parent and new distance learning teacher with our show's official licensed marriage and family therapist, Christina DeBray, and our daily tips to help you maintain a strong and healthy family, academic program, and a strong and healthy you while we all remain safer at home. We've got a lot to do, so let's get right to it. You know and love my first guest today. He's our regular Tuesday date, like I said. Mayor Cameron Smythe is a Santa Clarita native, born and raised. He is the son of two local educators and community servants themselves, and you all know that this shiny apple did not fall far from the tree. Cameron attended the same local schools that his three kids are attending today, and he was a four-sport student athlete who was really good at three of them. After graduating from Hart High School, he attended college at UC Davis, again showing his strengths as a student athlete. He received his degree in rhetoric and communications and then returned home to Santa Clarita, quickly becoming involved in the community, coaching and working for several area politicians, including his father Clyde, Buck McKeon, and Pete Knight. In 2000, he won his own first election, and he is now serving his fourth term as our city's mayor and has also served the community as state assemblyman. He's worked in the private sector as well in communications with the Shell Oil Company and his current position with Molina Healthcare as Vice President of State Affairs. Mayor Smith, welcome back in. Thanks for coming. Well, make sure you stick around. Amber has got a knack for curing people of their math phobia. She takes even the most ardent anti-math people and makes them true converts. So stick around on the line if you've got time. I'm sure you've got nothing else to do today, right? So we've talked about your football and basketball careers in weeks past, Mayor Smythe. And how about volleyball now? When you played volleyball, what position did you prefer? Really? Yeah. Okay.
Who ended up playing on the Olympic team, and after watching someone like that, it's very humbling to see. Oh, that's a big difference of what people really, So that's what an Olympic athlete looks like. You know what I mean? You think, you play sports and you compete at a high level, but that gap between Olympic level and collegiate level is so significant that it's very humbling right away. So put my dreams to an end very quickly.
And we here in Santa Clarita benefited from it. Now you
That's
did grow
right.
up. You mentioned you did grow up here in Southern California. So did you prefer playing in the gym or did you prefer the beach volleyball?
So it's funny. I actually was. I preferred indoor,
Okay.
and we just just because it just was kind of how it got started. And I think if I had grown up, closer to the beach, that might have been a different path. But just in general, I enjoyed the gym indoor, the speed of the game a little bit, and I could jump higher in the gym anyways, so that helped.
Yeah, this sand is rough on your knees, isn't it?
A little bit.
Mr. Mayor, Jerry keeps reminding me that Eye on the Valley is not a sports show, so we do need to move on.
All right.
But probably better anyways, because you've got a lot to get us caught up on, don't you? What's changed since last Tuesday? Can you update us? There's been quite a few changes here in our city as well as statewide.
Sure. So I think the biggest change is twofold. One, the county extended the stay-at-home or safer-at-home program or moratorium until May 15th. I think I had mentioned before on that while it had initially been April 19th, I think we were expecting that an extension was coming, and I'm not surprised that they added an additional 4 weeks. So that was released Friday afternoon, and additionally, the county has ordered that starting tomorrow, all residents, if you are going out to essential businesses, are going to be interacting with the public, that you need to wear some type of facial covering. Doesn't have to be a specific mask, but whether it be a bandana or the kind of the facial coverings you wear when you're snowboarding or snow skiing, as long as there is something there, covering your mouth and nose to help protect yourself, but also protect those that you might come in contact with. And so those are two pretty significant changes. Now, if you are walking your neighborhood or you're going for a run on the city trails, you don't, or you're with your nuclear family or the people you live with, you don't need to be wearing a mask. You don't need to be wearing it walking around your house or outside with your family. But if you are going to be interacting with the public, and other people, then you have to have that facial covering, and stores will have the right to decline you access and service if you do not have facial covering. So some big changes that are going to be in place for the next 4 weeks or so, and hopefully that will help even further knock down the curve and get us out of this by May 15th. Now, that being said, May 15th you're not going to have a light switch and everything's going to be back to normal, but hopefully we'll have some of these restrictions getting lifted by then.
Okay, so we did kind of, especially here in California, took a very proactive stance, and we moved pretty quickly. It almost was that light switch being thrown that we were asked to stay home. And again, you mentioned that very quickly we've gone from masks are optional to now they're going to be mandatory as we're out and about and interacting with other people.
So it's easy to switch on, but then we ease off of it, right, to make sure that we don't just jump right back to where we could have been a few weeks back.
Right, and I think I'm sure you probably saw that later today the governor is going to release some strategies for California transitioning out in conjunction with Oregon and Washington. It's an interesting political science debate to see some regional decisions being made, regional alliances with states. The East Coast is having some coalitions as well. So it's going to be interesting to see what is laid out about, when it comes to reopening. And I just certainly my hope that everybody looks at things from a region, from a local perspective, because certainly what is in place for San Francisco and the Bay Area counties with their density, it probably doesn't need to be the same as you see in the Central Valley or some of the rural counties in the state. And you hope that the political leaders and health professionals see that and see the data and start easing some of these restrictions.
Yeah, definitely. I was planning on asking you about that. Do you have any notes ahead of time about some of the guidelines that he's going to ease up on? Is it going to be more of a regional thing? Because as you mentioned, we are a big state. Is it going to be more up to counties, local municipalities, or do you know anything about what he's going to talk about, or are you just waiting on it at noon like the rest of us?
Yeah, I think today will probably be a pretty high-level framework, within the Washington, Oregon, and California region. So I don't think they'll be getting into the specifics, because if you look at the governor's belief that while we have California has really flattened the curve, it's still growing, so to speak,
Sure.
but at a very slow rate. Like, we don't have the big spike that you're seeing in Michigan, New York, Louisiana, others. So it stands to reason that you won't have the same sharp decline either. And so it's kind of a slow-moving train that will hit next month, and we hit our peak numbers. But when you look at the data here in LA County and even at the more micro level at Santa Clarita, you continue to see some growth, but you're looking at 4, 5, 6 people a day being diagnosed. You're not seeing a big 15 people one day, 20 people the next day, 25 the following. You're not seeing that big climb. So we just going to keep an eye on it and hope that we start seeing a more gradual decline sooner rather than later. And I'm curious to see now that we have our testing that's been in place. The mobile testing has been in place for about a week. We should start seeing some results from the testing numbers as well, and I'll be curious to see if that shows a little bit of a spike here in Santa Clarita as we increase our testing capabilities.
Sure, that will be interesting. We've got the drive-up testing at College of the Canyons, I believe, correct?
Correct. Yeah, using the covered parking structure, and again, it's important for the public to know that it is not a open to the public testing facility. You still need to be given a confirmation, demonstrate that you have either been exposed or you are exhibiting symptoms, and you do that all either through calling 211 or going on the county's COVID website, and you can be kind of walked through the process to determine if you are eligible or requiring a test.
So you do need to be referred, but it's good to know that we've got that station set up where folks can be tested, rather than some things that we've seen in other cities around the world where people were in really bad shape just waiting to be tested. That is good to hear. Now speaking of the local cases, unfortunately this past week, Henry Mayo did see its first and its second COVID-19 related death, which I know the folks at the hospital take very, very hard. Have you been in touch with the officials at the hospital? How are they managing them with the crisis as things continue to grow and morph?
Yeah, we have, and I know that tomorrow the city is going to be delivering some PPE over to the hospital to just help ensure that their stocks are in full supply, and to make sure that excuse me, that our frontline employees there know that the city's there and supports them, and this community is always going to be there if a need requires, and so if it comes down to the hospital needing additional resources, additional PPE, I have no doubt that the community will come in full force, as we always do, to make sure that those needs are met. So at this point, I think with the gradual the numbers that we see, we still don't have a very high number of hospitalizations. It's always kind of hovered in the low teens,
right.
Which is still very manageable for our Henry Mayo staff. So as long as we keep seeing that, and without any big spike, I feel confident, and I think they do as well. They still have the beds and the resources to help treat anybody that does require hospitalization.
Yeah, absolutely. I'm so grateful for not only our hospital, but our city and our state. Really, we really have gotten out in front of this, and it seems like it has made the difference. We appreciate that the city's doing everything that it can to support the hospital during this time, the community as well. I log onto Facebook every night to see which restaurant has supplied dinner to the hospital workers over there. It's neat to see all the different restaurants helping take care of the hospital workers who really are not only on the front lines, but seems like in the trenches. They're really going through it right now. They're working long hours and dealing with the high levels of stress over such an extended period of time. This isn't, a wildfire or something like that comes for a few days, a week, and then is gone. This is an extended period of stress. They're also putting themselves and their family at risk every day and going through that. So once we get through this, there's going to be some of the residual mental health effects that hospital workers and a lot of us go through. So have you and the rest of the city council began to talk about the type of emotional support that, like I said, especially those folks out on the front line, hospital workers, first responders are going to need, as well as the rest of the folks in the community? Have you started talking about what we do when we come back together and start to clean up the emotional side effects?
Sure. So, we've obviously been in conversation with our county supervisor's office, and, as the behavioral health support and mental health support comes from the county, and I know that that certainly is a concern, not just of the healthcare workers, but people are going through certainly some mental health stressors now. This has been about a month. There's been about a month, so you have isolation issues. You're really starting to see business owners that are concerned about the future of their livelihood. Obviously, tenants that are concerned about being able to make rent, people making their mortgage, and because of that, there is absolutely a current ongoing mental health, a growing mental health concern. One of the things that I know the senior center is doing, which has been great, is they have their social workers proactively calling their seniors and just checking in, which I think is a very insightful program to reach out to those seniors and not wait for them to call the senior center for help, but just, you've got a list of almost 1,000 seniors in the valley. Let's call them up. Just go down the list one by one and just kind of check in and make sure that they're doing okay and have some of the resources they need, and just check on the mental health component. But I do think the longer this goes on, the greater the stressors people are going to feel, and I think it's important for health officials and others to understand that and to recognize that people have there is going to be a kind of a breaking point, and people will follow and adhere to the guidelines and to the rules as long as they believe that the government is doing it genuinely. And if, as soon as the feeling is that this is going on longer than it should, I think you're going to start having some challenges. And it's certainly hope that the governor and others will see that and take those steps accordingly.
Yeah, it's definitely a balancing act. It's good to hear that the senior center is getting out in front of the underlying mental health crisis as well, because that's another curve that needs to be flattened. And so if we can mitigate the issues that people are dealing with now, then it obviously really takes the edge off of a crisis coming up later on. Now,
well, and I think, and I said, Joe, I think obviously it's relevant to your show. You're starting to see the students. I know that we just got my son got notice that the AP exam's coming up next month, and I know that that's causing stress for a lot of students who are counting on those AP exams, and we're counting on passing them for their not only their GPA but to get those those credits going into college, and not being able to have their plan for study groups and test prep. I think we need to be aware of our students as well, and the stress that they're going to be under coming up on with finals and the end of the year challenges.
You're absolutely right. That's the whole reason that we're here is to help our families guide their students, but then also help our families take care of themselves as well. Now, before this whole crisis set in, when you were sworn in as mayor this term, you talked about how it was one of your priorities to help deal with the homeless population in our city. Now, obviously, this has taken center stage in your administration right now, but then it brings a whole new layer to what our homeless population is dealing with. Do you have any information on how they're doing and what the city's doing to help keep them safe? They can be some of the most vulnerable people out there right now.
Sure, no, that's right, and due to the lack of access to sanitation, our homeless population is very vulnerable, and fortunately, we partnered with Bridge to Home, which is our primary nonprofit homeless provider, and have actually opened up the Newhall Community Center, which was closed, but we have opened it up and is now being used to house the clients of Bridge to Home, because under ordinary circumstances, Bridge to Home houses about 60 residents or 60 clients, and you can't maintain social distancing and all the other protections in place for 60 people at Bridge to Home. It's just not big enough, and so we worked with them to open up our community center in Newhall, so nobody had to be put out from the shelter. Everyone is able to stay protected, stay in a sheltered environment, and still meet those qualifications of social distancing. And so that was something that I take great pride in. Our staff working with the community to find a creative solution, to a situation that's unprecedented, and so that's something that we're doing. I know the county, in working with the state, is implementing Operation Room Key, and we do have one of the Super 8 motel and on Sierra Highway is participating in that. To providing a roof and rooms for some of the additional homeless residents of our community who aren't in the Bridge to Home shelter.
So good to see every organization and every person doing what they can to help out others. I know you've got a busy schedule today, and we're also waiting to hear what Governor Newsom has to say. That's obviously going to affect things here in our community later on this afternoon. But before we go, have you got anything else? Is there anything that I'm missing?
No, I think that is it for now. But the week is early.
Yes, definitely.
So
definitely.
I can imagine there'll be something. I'll imagine we'll have some more updates. Hopefully, the trend will continue on the on the reported cases here in Santa Clarita, and those numbers continue to remain flat or drop, and some of those residents that have been hospitalized will get discharged and be able to get back home.
We're looking forward to that happening, and we're looking forward to your visit next Tuesday. Now, of course, if things start changing rapidly, for better or for worse, please let us know, and we'd be glad to have you in. As always, Mr. Mayor, it's good to have you. Can't thank you enough for your time. We'll be looking forward to connecting with you next week. Until then, I want you to do well, and thank you for your leadership.
Appreciate it. Thanks, guys.
You take care. We're going to have to take a short commercial break, but coming up, we're taking a deep dive into habit number 8 of Stephen Covey's 7 Habits of Highly Effective People, finding your voice and helping others find theirs. And later today, we're going to be dispelling that myth that you are not a math person. Yes, you are. You are a math person. And we'll be checking in with our show's official licensed marriage and family therapist, Christina DeBray. For more information on how COVID-19 is affecting our valley, please go to hometownstation.com and click on the red banner. There you'll find tips on the economy, health updates, special business hours, and much, much more. That's hometownstation.com. You're listening to SCVi Charter School's Eye on the Valley, Homeschooling Answers. I'm your host, Matt Watson, on your hometown station, KHTS.
My tile is 20 years old, and it makes my house look 20 years old.
For quality, custom kitchen, bath, and tile, trust the professionals at Southern California Tile.
Hi, I'm Bob of Southern California Tile, and I invite you to come look at the wide selection of tile and stone at our showroom. We offer you personalized one-on-one service and help you see the many beautiful possibilities for improving your home.
Get some style at Southern California Tile.
In Placerita, by the entrance to Masters College.
There's a very good reason Embrace Your Smile has been voted Santa Clarita's #1 orthodontist for 10 years in a row.
Honestly, it's our team.
Dr. Megan LeCornu.
I think for me, what makes it stand out is when I have patients that come to me and say, we have never been in a doctor's office that feels like this. Our team is a family, and we really get along, and we are really passionate about what we do, helping our patients get the smiles they want and deserve.
Dr. Megan LeCornu of Embrace Your Smile Orthodontics.
Embrace your smile.
EmbraceYourSmile.com.
Got Plumbing, it's Eric.
Son, it's Mother. I was thinking, son, wait a minute. Cut, son. I'm coming into your sound booth.
Mom, what are you doing?
I don't think we need a commercial. I want to let everyone know that we're open for all the usual services, but that we also care about what's going on.
You know, you're right. There's doctors and nurses out there I want to thank, along with the police and the firemen.
And as a mother, I want to remind parents to teach their kids to wash their hands more often and use plenty of soap.
Even our plumbers are using extra safety devices like gloves, booties, and use disinfectant on all the surfaces they touch. And you know, that's a good idea for anyone interacting with the public right now.
I just want us all to stay safe and healthy. And that they can call us for anything they need right now.
That's why I love you, Mom. You think about our customers first. Give me a hug.
Son, social distancing.
CottonPlumbing.com. As the stay-at-home order continues through the month of April, Burger King is committed to following state and federal safety guidelines when it comes to serving you, the customer. Although in-restaurant dining has closed, pickup and delivery service continues. The current hours are 6 a.m. to 10 p.m. You can mobile order through the BK app for pickup, or you can use any of the delivery services like DoorDash, Ubereats, Grubhub, and Postmates. Burger King on Lyons at the 5 Freeway, now with service at 2 drive-through windows.
California Credit Union, the only credit union in Santa Clarita focused on our educational community. California Credit Union offers low rates on loans for personal and business services, along with financial services for teachers, students, staff, and families. Free checking and very low new and used auto loan rates.
California Credit Union, your personal credit union, located in the River Oak Shopping Center next to Target.
Visit us and open an account today. Insured by NCUA, an agency of the federal government.
Social distancing slows the spread of coronavirus, so if you have a fever, dry cough, and shortness of breath, call your healthcare provider before going in. More info at coronavirus.gov. Let's all do our part, because we're all #alone together. Brought to you by the Ad Council.
Your hometown station.
KHTS is the only station I listen to.
98.1 FM and AM 1220.
Welcome back. You're listening to KHTS, your hometown station, 98.1 on the FM dial and 1220 AM. I'm Matt Watson, and this is SCVi Charter Schools Eye on the Valley Homeschooling Answers. We've got a busy show today, and we've got a busy docket coming up the rest of this week. We will be checking in with another one of our area superintendents tomorrow. We'll also be hearing from mortgage advisor Fred Arnold tomorrow. And later on in the week, we'll be checking in with Director of Santa Clarita Recreation and Community Services, Janine Prado. So we will check the status on our local parks and trails and make sure that the beautiful areas that Santa Clarita is known for and the reason that many of you moved here are still up and running, and we'll see what else she's got for us. Today we've got our math expert, Amber Soto, coming in at the top of next hour. But right now, we are going to continue our deep dive on habit number 8. The last couple of weeks, we've been talking about Stephen Covey's 7 Habits of Highly Effective People, and you know, we wouldn't spend so much time on it if it wasn't something that we felt was so important, not only for us, but for our kids. A lot of other people think it's a pretty powerful book as well. It was published just over 30 years ago in 1989, and already it's been translated into 40 different languages and has sold over 30 million copies worldwide. As a matter of fact, I've read the book a couple of times. The first time I read it, I actually read it in Spanish. It was distributed by my employer when I was living in South America a few years back, and it was something that we used as a book study at the school I worked at down there. And then so glad to see that it was foundational at my current place of business, iLEAD Charter Schools. In fact, it's something that we've used as the foundation, the cornerstone in building all of our schools. You know, Stephen Covey studied history's most successful people, and he identified 7 habits, and then about 11 years later, he identified an 8th habit that all of these folks that are not just successful, but highly successful people, those 8 habits that they all have in common. And you know, if you can codify something like that, if you can break it down and say, okay, the history's most successful people have these things in common, and let's study them and take a look at them, why wouldn't we try to emulate those habits ourselves and work to be the highest, most effective version of ourselves? And of course, we would want that for our children, right? So that's why we've made that the cornerstone of our school organization and everything that we do. We study these habits ourselves. We pass them on to our kids so that we can be as highly successful as possible. Now, to give it a brief rundown, and I won't belabor this too much, habits number 1, 2, and 3 are about you, making you a better you. And I know a lot of us are working on that during this time, building our independence. Habit 1, be proactive. Just remember that you are in charge of you. You're not a victim of life's circumstance or the government or the guy next door. Make your life what you will. Habit number 2, begin with the end in mind. Figure out what you want, have a vision, and then make a plan. Figure out what you want, envision it, and then make a plan, set those stones to get there. And then habit number 3 is putting first things first. You've got to prioritize. Stop procrastinating. Do it today. Prioritize your tasks. Work on what is urgent and has to be done now, and then work often on what's important. That is the key there, is to stay in what is highly important and not quite so urgent. Hopefully we keep it from getting urgent. Habit number 4, 5, and 6 are all about us. Not just the me now, but the us. Making us a better team. It's building interdependence in how we work together. Habit 4 is think win-win. Not just a compromise where you get half and I get half, but that true win-win where we can both get everything that we truly are after. Habit 5, seek first to understand, then to be understood. Listen intently, not to reply. Oftentimes we do that when we're listening to others. We think, oh yeah, this is how I'm going to respond. And then you miss 95% of what they're saying, and what you end up responding isn't necessarily on target. But try to truly understand. Build empathy as you're listening and true understanding. And then habit number 6 is synergize, the idea that 1 + 1 = 3 or even more. Our work improves exponentially as we collaborate with others. And we heard about that with Mayor Smythe last break. As we all work collaboratively in our community and our state, we can improve the results and take the edge off of that curve exponentially. Now, habit number 7 has to do with continuous growth. This is something that we do as an individual and as an organization. We sharpen the saw. We balance and renew our resources. We develop balance in the 4 areas of our life: physical, mental, spiritual, and professional. We don't want to be that person that skips the metaphorical leg day, right? Where we've got a strong physical, spiritual, and professional life, but we're not improving ourselves mentally, or we don't want to have the strong mental and spiritual and physical, but our professional side is weak. We want to maintain balance in all 4 of those areas. And then habit 8 that we're looking at this week is finding your voice and helping others find theirs. And a lot of us refer to this as going from good to great, because that's when we take the great habits, we take that highly effective version of ourselves, and we bring others along with us, right? Finding our voice, helping others find theirs. For our kids, it sounds a little bit like, I've found something that I'm good at and really like doing. I'm proud, but I don't boast. Instead, I use my expertise to help inspire others. And you can see how that would translate into being a successful adult. Habit 8 is finding your voice and helping others discover their own in order to thrive at work. And in the information age, where interdependence is more important than independence, we become great and we take others along with us. Think about the greatest, most successful people around you. They constantly are looking to replicate themselves, whether it's through the development of educational initiatives or foundations to help others. Maybe they're mentoring proteges. And, you don't have to be a millionaire. You don't have to be a famous person to do that. Just keep moving in the right direction and take others with you. I think about Carl Goldman, and not just because I'm here at KHTS, but someone who's very inspiring, even as he was going through what has to have been one of the greatest challenges of his life, struggling with the diagnosis of COVID-19 on top of a pre-existing major health condition, being separated from everyone he knows, including his wife, and eventually becoming the longest quarantined American ever. Through all that, he's blogging, working with the global community to help keep us informed, help keep us inspired. I also think about the guy who organizes a small group of friends to meet once a week over coffee and talk about what we're doing to be better husbands, fathers, friends, professionals. I think about the young lady that volunteers to be a big sister. So we don't have to be a big shot to be a huge success in life. Just be the best version of yourself, stick your hand out, take somebody else with you. Well, we do have to take a quick break, but stick around. We'll be back for more after this. You're listening to SCVi Charter School's Eye on the Valley, Homeschooling Answers. I'm Matt Watson on your hometown station, KHTS.
98.1 FM, AM 1220 KHTS. Dr. Palucky, who is ubiquitous on the KHTS airwaves, joined us on air on Tuesday afternoon, discussed how Santa Clarita residents can maintain good health and keep up a healthy diet during this time of self-isolation and the coronavirus pandemic.
Here's a quick tip. If you're starting to feel stressed out or run down, B vitamins could help, because B vitamins are important to metabolism and nerves, but since they're water soluble, they move through you pretty fast. And too often people don't get enough of the 8 types of B vitamins from food only. So when choosing a B complex, make sure that it's in its activated form. And that means that an activated vitamin is already the way that the body uses it. So it goes right to work for you. A quick test to see if a vitamin is in its activated form is you look down and see what does it say for B12? Methylcobalamin is the activated form of B12, but the more common cyanocobalamin is not as effective. And activated vitamins may cost a little more, but they're actually more cost effective and a better health value. For more information, go to drpalucky.com.
That was Dr. Thomas Palucky here on KHTS. For the latest news and updates regarding the coronavirus around the Santa Clarita Valley, go to hometownstation.com.
You see so much when you look at your child. A creative spirit that surprises you every day. Curiosity that develops into exploring unique passions. A little leader growing every day to discover who they are, what they love, and how they can make their mark on the world. At SCVi, we see those same amazing things. Our tuition-free K-12 charter school gives your child boundless opportunities to think critically and imagine freely, with a customized learning program built around each individual student. As iLEAD's founding school, SCVi combines an immersive approach to traditional subject learning with extracurricular activities including STEAM, robotics, theater, music, and sports. SCVi has the only international baccalaureate program in Santa Clarita, with a 10-year proven track record of graduates excelling at top universities. And we're in your backyard, just off the 5 freeway in West Santa Clarita Valley in Castaic. For enrollment information or to learn more about our program, including homeschool options, visit iLEADSantaClarita.org. iLEAD Schools, free to think, inspired to lead.
There are many memorable restaurants in Santa Clarita, but 3 words stand out from the crowd. Mom can cook.
Mamá puede cocinar.
Mom can cook the best Thai food on this side of the planet.
Mama fait la cuisine.
No matter what language you use, Mom Can Cook says it all. Thai food at its finest, all your favorite dishes, and Mom's very own original specialties. Experience it on Soledad by the Canyon Country Post Office.
Mama 요리가 좋으세요?
Mom Can Cook.
Yesterday, December 7th, 1941, a date which will live in infamy.
We salute our veterans who sacrificed for our freedom.
Santa Clarita veteran Bill Reynolds.
Each week, we share an inspirational story of a local veteran on our Hometown Heroes page at hometownstation.com, thanks to our good friends at Eternal Valley.
I'm Richard Nunnally, General Manager of Eternal Valley Memorial Park and Mortuary. We believe taking care of each other is what community is all about. We're proud to bring you the stories of our hometown heroes.
Eternal Valley, life well celebrated.
Your hometown station, KHTS.
Welcome back. You're listening to KHTS, your hometown station, 98.1 FM and 1220 on the AM side. This is Matt Watson, and you're listening to Eye on the Valley, Homeschooling Answers. You know, it ain't so bad. I'm getting used to wearing this mask while I'm out and while I'm here in the studio. And nice to hear the mayor say that I don't have to wear it around the house, and that makes sense. But you know, it's a good clarification to hear that, you know, if you're out jogging or by yourself out on the hiking trails, it's not necessary. It's only if you're going to be interacting with others, but make sure that you've got your face covered up. You know, it's the order, so let's comply. I know it's a little bit annoying. I get sick of, you know, honestly smelling my own breath. It does have its pros and cons. You know, for example, con, it is a little bit cumbersome and uncomfortable, especially I'm kind of trying to avoid bumping into the microphone here. But pro, it keeps me healthy and alive, and that's a big pro. Con, it does cover my whole face, so no one there on Facebook Live can see this rockin' goatee that I've been cultivating this week. Pro, likewise, no one can see the hideous zit that cropped up on my nose last night either. I'm serious. It's like throbbing. This thing is generating its own heat, and no one can tell unless I decide to broadcast it over the air. So overall, I guess I give the experience a B+, mostly based on the keeping me healthy and alive thing. One thing I am still struggling to deal with, though, is this hair. So I mentioned it before, and I'm about 2 weeks past the drop dead date on my haircut here, and I do need your help to decide. I need to figure out what to do. The Twitter poll is still up, because at this point, if I style my hair the way I normally do with the bangs out front, I bear a striking resemblance to the Statue of Liberty. So I've been parting it on the side now, but it does look like I've been literally licked by a cow over here on the right-hand side. So I figured, you know, and Shane and I were talking about it last week, I figured I'd just go with hats for the next couple of weeks until I can throw it all the way backwards. But then producer Sarah said no, because if I wear a hat, our Facebook viewers won't be able to see my face. Sarah, are you watching? The Facebook viewers won't be able to see my face. What part of my face are you most concerned about, Sarah? At this point, I've been reduced to eyebrows and this uncontrollable hairdo. So, yeah, I don't know. Will you help me out, viewers? Would you head over to the Twitter poll and vote? The Twitter handle is @YourSoVain. You probably think this song is about you. Don't you? Don't you? Don't you? And look for that blue check. Anyways, so yeah, got to figure this out. Do you remember the philosophy that we talked about a couple weeks back? We talked about that parenting philosophy and educational philosophy called love and logic. It's something that's been remarkably valuable for me as a parent in raising my kids as well as an educator to help take the stress off of me and at the same time build autonomous and independent children. There's a free Love and Logic online course in parenting right now. Yes, it's free. It's normally $99, but you will have access to all 6 modules for the next 3 months. Again, normally $99, now being offered for free. So if you're thinking, nah, I don't need this, trust me, eventually you're going to need it, whether it's with your kids, maybe your grandkids in the future. Do take advantage of the offer and check it out. The link is really long, but I'm going to post it on our Facebook Live feed right now as we head off to commercial. I know it is time to check in with local and national news stories and the latest updates right now. So I do want you to stick around while I go check the mirror again. And next hour, we're going to be talking math and tackling our math phobias with Amber Soto. We can do this. And we'll check in with our show's official licensed marriage and family therapist, Christina DeBray. For more information on how COVID-19 is affecting our valley, go to hometownstation.com and click on the red banner. There you'll find tips on the economy, health updates, special business hours, and much, much more. You're listening to SCVi Charter School's Eye on the Valley, Homeschooling Answers with your host, Matt Watson, on your hometown station, KHTS.
Hi, this is Bob Schertz with the Way Out Recovery SCV, reminding you that during these unprecedented times, addiction and mental health do not take a break. If you or someone you love are struggling, please give us a call at 661-296-4444. We are open and here to help you during this time. Thanks.
Hey y'all, I hope you guys are staying safe and staying at home. My name's Devin. My dad owns the Burger King off the 5 freeway and Lyons Avenue. We are still open from business from 6 to 10 p.m. We have both our drive-thrus up and running finally. That took forever. However, on that note, I hope you guys come and help support the community. But I'm not supposed to let y'all know this, but if y'all use the Burger King app, y'all can get some great deals on there. They have some great coupons and all that. On that note, you guys can also pay through the app if you guys don't want to use cash or use your credit card to run germs around, so you can stay safe for that. Also, on that note, we do have Grubhub and Postmates coming up soon. We have Ubereats as of right now. You guys can use that anytime you guys feel like it. If you guys do not want to stay in your car, we do have our dining room open where you guys can go in and do takeout and then eat in your cars in the parking lot. We do have to make sure that y'all stay 6 feet apart. There are markings on the floor. But I do have a little story for y'all. I remember the Santa Clarita fires years ago. My dad got a call from Jerry from the radio station asking us if we could help and feed the firefighters. My dad told everyone, let's go. So all the kids, and including my mom, we all went down to the business, opened it. We were closed that day. And then we had to call up a couple of friends to help us make about roughly 200 to 300 burgers. And we delivered it to the firefighters to make sure that they were taken care of, because that's what we're all about, is helping our community. But not only that, my dad's also all about helping his employees. He did order some extra toilet paper for them to take home, because he knows that it's hard to find toilet paper around here. He just wanted to make sure that the community and his employees were all taken care of. Please stay safe. I hope you guys get through this crisis right now. We're here to help. We're here to support y'all. Enjoy the rest of your day. Bye, y'all. P.S. I forgot to mention that right now, I don't know the exact time limit, but for right now, we are doing a special deal on the app, or you can mention to the employees that anything that you buy, including, for example, if you buy a Whopper combo, you will get 2 free kids meals without the toys, so we can take care of your little ones if you are sort of struggling there. We just want to make sure that everyone's taken care for, even your kids and even you. So don't forget to mention that, or go on to the Burger King app. There are a bunch of great deals on there that'll help you out.
Choosing the right copy service was a top priority for John Hayes, owner of Hayes Plumbing in Santa Clarita. John's glad he called Sean Milligan at Professional Copy Service.
Well, once we found Sean at Professional Copy Service, we've been very, very happy. We started using him right after our factory warranty had expired on the current copier that we had purchased, and Sean and his guys have been far and above better than the factory warranty service.
Professional Copy Service, 299-5756. 299-5756. The only authorized Canon dealer for sales and service in Santa Clarita for Santa Clarita, Professional Copy Service.
We try to keep everything we can in this valley. We shop local ourselves, and we try to use any local merchant as possibly can.
Call Sean Milligan at Professional Copy Service, 299-5756.
Call Professional Copy Service immediately. They'll save you a lot of time and get your office staff back up to full production.
Professional Copy Service, Santa Clarita's only authorized Canon office equipment dealership. Ask about our free on-site demos.
A social distancing tip.
Keeping your distance from others is important in slowing the spread of coronavirus. So here are some fun things to do alone. Read a book, take a walk, unpack your suitcase from that trip you took last September, paint a self-portrait, catch up on a TV series, do a puzzle. Remember, we should all stay home to lower the risk for everyone. For more info, visit coronavirus.gov.
Let's all do our part, because we're all #alone together. Brought to you by the Ad Council.
KHTS AM 1220 and 98.1 FM Santa Clarita. It's 10 o'clock. Time for national news on KHTS.
Special report coronavirus update.
Pandemics have a way of cutting through a lot of noise and spin to remind us of what is real.
Barack Obama has stepped into the political fray with a pandemic-timed endorsement of Joe Biden.
In a message posted on his Twitter feed, President Obama said America needs the kind of leadership that only Joe Biden can provide.
The kind of leadership that's guided by knowledge and experience, honesty and humility, empathy and grace. That kind of leadership doesn't just belong in our state capitals and mayor's offices. It belongs in the White House. And that's why I'm so proud to endorse Joe Biden for President of the United States.
Obama went on to say choosing Joe Biden as his vice president was one of the best decisions he ever made. Linda Kenyon, Washington.
President Trump has met with patients who've recovered from the virus, hearing from a passenger who was on a cruise ship that experienced an outbreak. The World Health Organization says don't believe claims that drinking potent alcohol will stave off the virus. I'm Mike Moss. New York's governor and President Trump are in the middle of a very public disagreement. More from correspondent Steve Kastenbaum.
Governor Andrew Cuomo said of President Trump's claim that he had total authority over the states.
We don't have King Trump, we have President Trump.
New York's governor said he would defy any order that put the public's health at risk.
The worst possible thing he could do at this moment would be to act dictatorial.
Cuomo urged the president not to bring partisan politics into the fight against coronavirus.
Economists are still trying to put into context the shock that the world has absorbed and will absorb. Today, the International Monetary Fund put the damage at Great Depression levels. France is forecasting an 8% drop in growth this year and projects its worst recession since World War II. The economic minister says that 8% drop may be optimistic. The Dow up 521 points. I'm Mike Moss.
Hi, I'm Jay Farner, CEO of Quicken Loans and Rocket Mortgage. During the challenging times we're all experiencing, our top priority is the health and safety of the communities we serve. And while it's true that things are changing rapidly every day, one thing that'll never change is our commitment to giving you the best mortgage experience. At Rocket Mortgage, our guiding philosophy of every client, every time, no exceptions, no excuses, exists for times like right now. We understand that hardships may arise, and we're prepared to help. If you currently work with us and need assistance with your mortgage, contact us 24/7 at rocketmortgage.com. As we all think about ways to save money, let me remind you that mortgage rates are near historic lows. If you think right now is the right time to refinance your mortgage, our home loan experts are available to help you 24 hours a day, 7 days a week at rocketmortgage.com.
Call for cost information and conditions. Equal housing lender. Licensed in all 50 states. And MLSConsumerAccess.org, number 3030.
Thanks for listening to KHTS AM 1220, Canyon Country, California. K260CO 98.1 FM, Santa Clarita, California.
These days, it's hard to figure out how to fill all the self-isolation time, let alone figure out what to have for lunch or dinner. Salt Creek Grill owner Greg Amsler is helping us out in a big, big way. Salt Creek is now offering takeout and curbside pickup, so you don't even have to get out of your car. Now, if you'd like, you could stay at home. They participate with Ubereats, Postmates, DoorDash, and Grubhub. Their entire menu is available for pickup or delivery, including to-go beer and wine. Hey. In addition, Greg's offering wine at 25% off, along with daily specials. If you'd like to buy a gift card for a future visit, now's the time. Buy a $50 gift card and get $10 extra on the card completely free. Buy a $100 gift card, you get an extra $25. Salt Creek Grill, located next to Regal Cinema at the Valencia Mall. For more info, go to saltcreekgrill.com.
Mission Valley Bank is a commercial bank in the Santa Clarita Valley that really puts the community into community banking.
At Mission Valley Bank, we strive to be a trusted advisor to our clients, and that means being an integral part of the communities we serve. We started the Give Where You Live program to help bring awareness to our nonprofit partners. We're more than just a local business bank. In fact, we're a full-service, independent commercial bank that is locally owned, community-minded, and relationship-driven. I'm Tamara Gurney, President and CEO of Mission Valley Bank, and I invite you to experience the Mission Valley Bank difference, where your success is our mission. We want to be your most valued bank.
Mission Valley Bank has been named Most Trusted Advisor Business Banker by the San Fernando Valley Business Journal 5 years in a row, and received the Business Leadership Award by the Santa Clarita Valley Chamber of Commerce, Valley Industry Association, and SCVi Economic Development Corporation. Visit them at their Center Point branch location or at missionvalleybank.com. Member FDIC.
You see so much when you look at your child. A creative spirit that surprises you every day. Curiosity that develops into exploring unique passions. A little leader growing every day to discover who they are, what they love, and how they can make their mark on the world. At SCVi, we see those same amazing things. Our tuition-free K-12 charter school gives your child boundless opportunities to think critically and imagine freely, with a customized learning program built around each individual student. As iLEAD's founding school, SCVi combines an immersive approach to traditional subject learning with extracurricular activities including STEAM, robotics, theater, music, and sports. SCVi has the only international baccalaureate program in Santa Clarita, with a 10-year proven track record of graduates excelling at top universities. And we're in your backyard, just off the 5 freeway in West Santa Clarita Valley in Castaic. For enrollment information or to learn more about our program, including homeschool options, visit iLeadSantaClarita.org. iLEAD Schools, free to think, inspired to lead.
This is Bradley Gross from Santa Clarita Grocery. Santa Clarita Grocery serves fresh groceries to families, individuals, and those experiencing homelessness. At Santa Clarita Grocery, out of every dollar donated, a full 99 cents goes directly to the needs being addressed. As an all-volunteer-led organization, we operate on a 1% overhead, receiving no government funding for our operations in the community, resulting in us being one of the most efficient charities in the Santa Clarita Valley. If you're looking to support the good for our community, please consider partnering with us by donating to Santa Clarita Grocery. What is donated is specifically kept in the Santa Clarita Valley, helping over 3,000 families, including 5 other community charities. Please visit our website, santaclaritagrocery.org, or visit us on social media or call us at 425-7575. That's 425-7575.
City Councilman Bob Keller here. Keep it tuned to 98.1 FM and AM 1220 KHTS, hometownstation.com, for the latest information regarding COVID-19. KHTS will have both national and local news and information during this unprecedented time. For more, go to the KHTS website or the KHTS Facebook page. KHTS is also available online in the free app for iPhone and Android. Continue to social distance, only going out if it's absolutely necessary, and continue to check on friends and family. With your help, we will flatten the curve and come through this stronger than ever. Thank
The
you.
following is sponsored programming and does not necessarily reflect the views or opinions of KHTS or its ownership.
Welcome back. You're listening to KHTS, your hometown station, 98.1 FM and 1220 on the AM side. This is Matt Watson, your host. You're listening to Eye on the Valley Homeschooling Answers. We are also live on Facebook. Head on over to Facebook and check out KHTS Radio. There you can see the show that you can hear on the radio. So how are you doing with math? Are you able to support your kids, teach them and tutor them? Well, our next guest is here to help. Amber Soto, the oldest of 7 children, grew up in the Antelope Valley, a standout student and athlete who played varsity soccer for, count 'em, 1, 2, 3 years. Take that, Mayor Smythe. Following high school, Amber received 2 associate's degrees from Antelope Valley College. Her BS in applied mathematics, that means like the math that we actually use. And she got her master's in education with an emphasis on mathematics from UCLA. Go Bruins. During this time, she balanced her brains with beauty and talent, becoming Miss Pear Blossom. She began her career in teaching, running an elementary school play intervention program. She then taught math and AP physics at Locke High School. She's not messing around. Excelling there, she became a math coach, teaching and mentoring other teachers, and before becoming an assistant principal in the Anaheim Union High School District. From there, she joined iLEAD Schools as the director of mathematics, where she served for nearly 3 years now. Amber and her husband Victor and their 12-year-old son Jordan are new residents to the Santa Clarita Valley, having moved to Saugus just last year. She loves music and is an accomplished singer, and she's also a self-proclaimed escape room fanatic. Good morning, Amber. Thanks for coming back.
Good morning. I have decided that I am going to make you my voice message system.
Yeah, you're going to get a lot of people hanging up before we ever get to the beep.
See, it's effective.
There we go. All right. To each his own. Rock on. Okay. So last week we talked, and I appreciate you coming back in because you had so much to talk about. We ran out of time last time, so I want to get straight to it. We were talking about your job on the iLEAD Maker team, and for those of you that are unaware, the Maker team at iLEAD Schools is our team of curriculum instruction and assessment experts and me. And you train our teachers to teach math and develop a mathematical mindset, and I've seen you do your voodoo on some of the most ardent non-math people around. And now our listeners may not know this, but yesterday you and I and the rest of the team spent the day working with our teachers to improve their ability to teach high-quality, engaging classes for their new distance learning platform. And so you taught some workshops with our teachers yesterday. How did your workshops go?
Yeah, it was a lot of fun. In the whole segment that you said everything that's ever happened in my life, you talked about how I'm an escape room fanatic.
Yep.
And so I love doing escape rooms. And I've noticed there's been a shift with everything that's happened to online, so virtual or digital escape rooms. And so I have done several physical escape rooms with the teachers that I work with, but one of them, she decided to make a virtual one. And when we were trying to figure out what workshops to do, we thought that would be perfect. So we spent the whole week researching on how to make your own digital escape room for your class. And it was incredible. It's actually pretty easy to make your own, and we really enjoyed the process of finding so many tools and different things out there to be able to use that just make it really easy, honestly, to make your own.
That is really cool and probably really fun for the kids. I'm sure if some of their facilitators, their teachers pick up on that, they'll have a good time. So is it escape rooms for escape's sake, or is there content built into that?
No, absolutely content built into it. So the idea is they create a website. So we use sites.google.com /new. And it's a really, really super user-friendly. But the idea is they figure out first what are the questions they want their kids to be able to answer, and then they figure out what tools do I want to use to be able to make this particular question some type of a puzzle, and then they figure out where to lay it out on the sites, and they use Google Forms that the kids have to enter the answers into it to be able to unlock the page. So it's honestly a pretty easy process, but you can put whatever you want in it. If you want it to just be fun, escape for escape's sake, you can. If you want to include content, you can. But it's more than anything just making it so that the kids can engage and have fun with it, where it becomes more of a game and less of a we have to sit and do work. So It was good. It was good times.
That's cool. So that'll be cool. While kids are practicing their math, they're having a lot of fun escaping that math monster. You know, it seems like so many of us here in America do see math as a monster. teachers and non-educators seem to have this math phobia, and you hear it all the time. You know, I'm not a math person, or I don't do math, or I just don't understand math. People seem to be afraid of it. Why do you think so many people, especially here in America, are afraid of math, Amber?
I think that it's because it's kind of become this thing where when it's taught, you're either right or wrong. And it doesn't feel good to be wrong. So it's kind of like...
I've gotten used to it.
And I think it's just kind of become this narrative. You know, people say all the time, I'm not a math person. Or, you know, oh, I've never been good at math. And I always push them to say yet, because there's been so much brain research done that's really shown that the brain has a lot of flexibility, you know, and a lot of plasticity. It can grow, it can shrink, it can do all kinds of things. And so we want to push that idea of you can learn these things. You just have to, A, be willing to take some risks, B, allow the time. But I think that's part of the problem. I think that, well, and I'm getting off on a different tangent here, but our grading system is something that I think needs to be revamped, because it really only gives credit for those who can get that 100% or that, you know, get those good grades all the time, and it doesn't reward taking risks if it means you're going to get a lower grade. And so we really need to kind of change that narrative that sometimes it's a good thing to take those risks, and making mistakes is good. We learn from them. Across the board, successful businessmen will tell you that they wouldn't have been as successful as they were without making mistakes, without taking risks. And I think that part of that is just educating people, that they learn about the brain research that's been done, particularly in math with the work with Carol Dweck and Joe Bowler, really kind of pushing that narrative of recognizing that you learn when you make mistakes. Brains grow when they make mistakes. You learn it better if you make a mistake first and learn from it than you do if you get it right the first time. So kind of like push that. Make it a thing.
Yeah, I agree with you 100%. I would love to see on my kid's report card that he got an A- in risk-taking, or that he was gifted in the area of resilience, or something like that. You know, here in...
Absolutely.
At least in the Western world, we tend to think that, you know, there's one right answer and everything else is wrong, but that's not the way to success.
Right.
So how do we cure that idea? I know that I've actually seen you cure one of the worst patients I've ever seen, and you know who I'm talking about. There was someone when you showed up at our organization that almost drew the line in the sand and dared you to cure his math phobia, and he didn't say, you know, come and get me if you can. He said that, you know, it can't be done. I'm terminal, and you have made him not only one of the best math teachers I've seen in a long time, but someone who's excited about math. So how do you cure that? How do you convince people to convince themselves that math is our friend and we can do it?
Yeah, shout out to Alan, right?
I didn't want to mention names, but all right.
Yeah, when I first met him, when I was first hired by iLEAD, he said, just so you know, I don't do math. And yeah, what I heard when he said that was, I dare you, and I said challenge accepted. So I think the biggest part, again, is kind of, I think people see math as algorithms and like you do the steps and you get the answer, period. And they don't have the conceptual understanding behind it. And I know I've heard over and over, you know, you see all those cute little videos that they put online that shows side by side one person doing math the traditional way and one doing math the new way, and look at how much longer it takes. Oh, this person's done and they're already drinking a cup of coffee. And the thing is that that's true. The algorithms can go much faster. But in the long run, when you get to the heavier stuff, you know, we see kids all the time who will do well, and then they hit that algebra wall, right? And all of a sudden, it's just like, what happened?
Well, because now you're adding letters, and that just doesn't make sense, yeah.
And a big part of why they hit that wall is because they never learn the conceptual understanding behind why things are done. Okay. And so that's the biggest part of it, is I started showing him, or, you know, the teachers that I was working with, this is why. This is how these things connect. And by the way, I'm going to put it out there that I'm not necessarily against the traditional algorithm if people understand why they're doing it. I was actually kind of working on a side project with my son where I wanted to do connections between what's seen as old math and new math, which is funny, by the way, because the standards really haven't changed that much, but I digress.
Right. Did Pythagoras change his mind?
But kind of showing how some of these new, using area models or multiplication array connecting to the traditional multiplication algorithm to show how they connect and they're the same thing, so that understanding rises above just doing rote steps. So that was a big part of it, is helping him to get that conceptual understanding and learning to love how everything connected. And then when he was able to bring that to his kids, he saw a difference there. And now I think he actually put it as part of his, when he was going to college to finish that up, part of his emphasis to focus on math. So, he got to that point that he loved it. And I see that with a lot of people. A lot of people start off kind of with this fear, and I think part of it is because it's easier to push it away and say, nope, I can't do that, than it is to try it and be like, I'm really struggling with this. So again, that's part of the narrative of changing that and making it okay. But every single person that's allowed me to sit with them and kind of push through that ends up on the other end of really appreciating those connections that are made.
Okay, so we've got parents listening at home, and I don't know that you're necessarily going to have time to sit with each one of them. So
give me time.
Is it right? Exactly. She's now moved to the city, folks. She's making her way door to door. It's not very socially distant of you, Amber. Okay, so but is that something that's easily, like, I think, okay, well, maybe I can't sit with you, but I can Google it, right? So do I start Googling things like, why does a squared plus b squared equal c squared? Or, it's one thing to warm up to math in our daily lives and start helping our kids and maybe re-educate ourselves on a little bit of algebra or pre-algebra. It's a completely different thing to teach math to others, because you've got to have a deep understanding to teach it to others, right?
Mm-hmm.
So do you have any resources that you can maybe give our parents who are now adjusting to the idea, like it or not, that this is a little bit longer rather than shorter term? Any websites that you can recommend where parents can go to help themselves as they, like it or not, become somewhat of a math teacher or a math tutor?
Yeah, I said a lot of the resources last week. I don't know if you want me to say some of the same ones.
Please.
But I want to say right now that I think a lot of times people don't realize how much math they use even in their daily life. So, like you take baking, for example. That's a really, really great example. Like if you have a certain recipe, it has all kinds of fractions in it. If you have to double the recipe or triple the recipe, or even to know how much you need to do of that recipe, depending on how many people you're feeding. Another really great example, especially with everybody kind of in quarantine right now, is gardening. I know a lot of people have talked about maybe it's a good time to start trying to grow our own food. So planting a garden, there's all kinds of stuff with area and perimeter and how deep do you dig the hole and what does that look like and what's the space needed between each. And even things, I know we're starting to kind of try to grow stuff in our yard. And there's one thing that we didn't think about was that if we put all of our boxes with the stuff in it next to the wall, it doesn't get much sunlight because the wall blocks the sun during a majority of the day. So even thinking about the angles of sunlight and where it needs to be, I mean, there's just so much math that we regularly do innately that we don't think of as math.
Right.
Things like thinking about home improvement. If we wanted to pour a patio, how much space will we do? How much would the concrete cost? How much volume of concrete will we need? If we wanted to make a wood deck, if we wanted to, even on the simple level, I saw a word problem once that was building a birdhouse, and it involved fractions and the dimensions of the wood. Mm-hmm. And the problem itself actually had an extension piece to it that said, why don't you build a birdhouse? I have to admit, I've become quite a bit of a bird lady. Which I don't think has the same connotations as being a cat lady, but
but it's pretty close.
Pretty close. But it's really interesting to me to notice the patterns in the birds. I always just thought it was random birds, and I didn't realize that I'm noticing now that I'm here all the time that a lot of time it's the same birds over and over. So I started naming them, but that's not the point. The point is...
We've got to get through this quarantine, Amber.
The point is that there's all kinds of math in that, in looking at the patterns, in counting, seeing the numbers that are visiting each day, how many are flying away at a certain time of day. It's just really, really interesting to see. So I know that was a bit of a side note, and I'll get back to resources, but I did want to say that there's so much math in everyday things that we do. I don't want parents to feel overwhelmed. It's important to me. I've heard so many of my parent friends that are just like, I'm trying to do my own job, and I have to sit and homeschool, and there's all of this stuff, and it's overwhelming. I want to send the message out that the most important thing is that everybody feels okay through this, And so if you feel like it's going to break your family to sit your kid down and, try to force feed them some kind of math, don't do it. Go and find math and regular everyday things and enjoy it. Have that time to be enjoyed. Okay. So I'll skate back to the resources. One of my favorite web pages, it's Joe Bowler's web page, is ucubed.org.
Is that Y-O-U?
Yeah, YOUCUBED.org.
Okay.
And there's a tab there called Tasks. And under that tab, there's all kinds of cool stuff. I think there's one called Arts in Math. There's one that's just called Tasks. That's kind of like these puzzles to solve, but they're a little bit on a deeper level. It's kind of interesting. There's another one called Week of Inspirational Math, I think. There's just some really, really cool stuff that you can go to and kind of dig through there. I told you, Matt, how I'm doing, I think last time I told you how I was going to be doing videos.
Yeah.
Uploading. So D-Day was today. The first one got shouted out today. So that's on the Homeschooling Answers. And what I do on those videos is I showcase the resources so that if parents want to use them with their kids, they've kind of seen them in action. So the one that I'm showcasing right now is Which One Doesn't Belong. And so there's a webpage, wodb.ca. And that is where it gives kids 4 different things, and you have to figure out which one doesn't belong. But the trick is that everything belongs in its own way. So you could say this one doesn't belong because it's not this. Oh, wait, but this one wouldn't belong. And it's more a way of generating some really great math conversation. So that's a really cool one.
And, before you move on to that next one, I wanted to ask a couple of follow-up questions on that whole idea of which one doesn't belong. First of all, I've seen the activity that you're talking about, and it is really cool. It's so important to get our kids talking about math, and more than anything, explaining why. Okay, so why did you answer this? We don't have enough language in math. But something that I was always good at was which one doesn't belong, and I could figure out which one didn't belong, but it was more kind of my logical brain. Well, I think it's this one. I couldn't explain why, and then B, I couldn't really justify it. Same thing when I got into geometry. Algebra I just sailed right through because it was logical for me, but geometry was the one that just kicked me in the rear end because they would ask, are these two shapes identical? And I would look at them, and they were. And so I would say yes. And then the teacher would ask why. And my answer was, well, look at them, man. But in geometry, you had to prove it. Math just kind of always clicked for me, and I could never really justify things. How do we develop that understanding in our kids of explaining why and justifying things rather than, especially for those kids that it just clicks for?
Yeah, I think for me, I like to play stupid. And even though my son understands what I'm doing now, he's smart enough to realize that I'm...
Right, you might be playing stupid, but he's not, yeah.
I'm like, I don't get it. Can you explain it? But I think that even education around that, understanding that everything we do in the real world, and I know you didn't see it, but I just put air quotes around that.
I heard them, yes.
Is we justify things. You know, if you look at anything that happens, if people make a decision, there's justification behind it. If there's, in law, in business, in even in science, everything that we do, we have justifications behind it. We have to be able to explain it. Even in politics, it's funny because I saw a thing that said once that, that whole idea of just don't talk about politics, I think kind of hurt us, because now we don't know how to engage with somebody that thinks differently than us without getting frustrated or mad or like a lot of negative feelings. We don't know how to seek to understand or to be able to justify using different things. And it's hurt us a little bit, I think. So that whole idea of learning to look for your solution, but then backing it up with your evidence, with your justification, and being able to stand on that is a skill that's needed in so many fields in the real world, and it's so important. So just letting our kids know, there's a reason why I'm asking you why. I know you can do it in your head, but learning to communicate those things, whether it be orally or in a written way, is hugely important for what you're going to do in the future. In the future, nobody's going to ask you, what's the answer to this numerical problem? They're going to ask you to justify something beyond that.
Yeah, and I think that was probably the problem early in my math career is people weren't asking me why. I was getting the right answer. They were satisfied. They moved me on. And so, yeah, I think as early as possible we can flip the script on our 3-year-old who's constantly asking why, and be that parent like you do with Jordan and ask why. We're talking math today with Amber Soto, Director of Mathematics at iLEAD Schools. We've got to take some commercial breaks, but please stay with us. She's going to share a lot more resources with us, and we'll also be talking about where you can get help when you get desperate with math. When we come back, we'll continue that conversation with her. For more information on how COVID-19 is affecting our valley, please go to hometownstation.com and click on the red banner. There you'll find tips on the economy, health updates, special business hours, and much, much more. You're listening to SCVi Charter Schools, Eye on the Valley, Homeschooling Answers. I'm Matt Watson with Amber Soto on your hometown station, KHTS.
When you're looking for a midnight snack, sometimes fast food just doesn't cut it. California Bakery and Cafe is open 24/7, so you'll be able to find fresh donuts, danishes, bagels, all-natural fruit juices, gourmet sandwiches, and much more at any hour. With elaborate cakes for any occasion, including weddings, baptisms, anniversaries, corporate events, or any special event. California Bakery and Cafe in Santa Clarita is open 24 hours to satisfy any craving, anytime. Call us, 255-1254. That's 255-1254.
A social distancing tip.
While the CDC urges you to avoid close contact, like hugging or shaking hands, there are other non-physical ways to say hello. Wave, wink, use sign language, salute, smile, give the peace sign, throw up an air high five, do jazz hands. Remember, stay a minimum of 6 feet or 2 arms length away from others, and stay home if you can. For more info, visit coronavirus.gov.
Let's all do our part, because we're all #alone together. Brought to you by the Ad Council.
We all know sometimes people lose their way. If you or someone you know is struggling with addiction, the Way Out Recovery SCVi may have the answers you've been waiting for. The Way Out is the premier intensive outpatient treatment center serving Santa Clarita. Asking for help is the first step. Call The Way Out today, 661-296-4444. That's 296-4444 for a private free assessment. The Way Out is an accredited, affordable outpatient program that accepts most insurance. Call us at 661-296-4444 or check us out online at thewayoutrecoveryscv.com. Quit battling with yourself. Ask The Way Out for help today.
Your hometown station.
KHTS is the only station I listen to.
98.1 FM and AM 1220.
Welcome back. You're listening to KHTS, your hometown station, 98.1 FM and 1220 on the AM side. This is Matt Watson, and you're listening to Eye on the Valley Homeschooling Answers. We're talking this morning with Amber Soto, Director of Mathematics at iLEAD Schools, and she's sharing a lot of great resources and helping massage our mindsets a little bit, helping remind us that if we don't feel like a strong math person, we can become that math person. We just need to open our minds, open our hearts to it. And she's also here providing a lot of resources. And Amber, I've posted a couple of those websites that you mentioned earlier on the Facebook Live feed. So if you're looking for those websites that Amber was talking about earlier, head on over to Facebook and check out KHTS Radio and click on the banner there. They're on the Facebook Live comments feed. So now, Amber, this can be a little bit of a challenge. In fact, I know for all the years that I've been at iLEAD, we've struggled with math and matching it with what our educational model is. Our educational model is project-based learning, and it's a beautiful model that allows kids not to study their subjects, but to really get deeply immersed in them and to apply them. And for the longest time, I struggled with math because you would think, math is something that applies more to our daily life than anything else, but we had a hard time developing rigorous math projects around project-based learning. So have you got any project-based learning stuff that can help engage our kids and let them see that practical application for math?
It's funny that you say that because I feel like my dad was doing PBL before PBL was a thing.
The best teachers were. It's just good education, right?
Yeah. And so when I was probably 8 or 9, I want to say, and my sister was a couple of years younger than me, he had us plan a road trip to go on. And so he gave us a map, old school, right? And he gave us a Motel 6 pamphlet that had all the ones dotted all the way up. He gave us how much time we would have, how many hours he wanted to travel each day, about how much it would cost for gas and things like that, and then gave us a budget and then said, okay, you tell us where we're going, where we're staying each night, and you got to get us from here up to here and back home within 2 weeks' time. And then the rest was kind of up to us. We even had to research and plan out where we were going to stop, what were cool places to see in each of the cities. I mean, it was a big thing. It took us a while.
Sure.
So I was reflecting on that a little bit. And I was thinking, with everybody kind of cooped up right now,
Yeah.
How cool would it be to tell your kids, okay, once this is done, where do you want to go? Here is the budget. Let's kind of work this thing out, to kind of give them that eye for the future, kind of to have that hope. But also, those are all skills that you need to have, budgeting and, being able to know directions and how long things take and looking up things in different areas, all really, really good skills for kids to be able to do. So I thought that was a really, really fun thing that we got to engage in. And then when we actually went on the trip, it was really cool to see all the different things that we had put into motion. Another big one is, I don't want to call it food rationing because that sounds weird, but we have to we have to be careful about our shopping and our spending and different things like that. So having your kids be in charge of looking at what our needs are for food, like if we make these different, planning out the meals and looking at the recipes and how much is required, so how much do we need to buy and what is our budget and when do we need to go to get these things? Things like that are really, really great ways of getting kids involved, doing a lot of math involved, but developing a lot of real-world skills.
It's interesting that you say that. We actually did that at my house a couple of days ago.
Did you?
Because it doesn't have to be the concept of food rationing, but every time we go out to the store, we're taking a little bit of a risk, right? So we don't want to just. Where I live. I live right next door to a grocery store, and we're used to just popping on over there if we forgot something, and we may go over there on some weeks almost every day, every day, but that's not something we want to do. We want to limit our visits. So in my family, we're going to the grocery store once a week. And I was talking to my son about it, we ordered takeout a couple of times this weekend, so we had some leftovers. And so I didn't mean to, Amber. I didn't mean to do the math with him, but we ended up doing that math. We ended up looking at the fridge and kind of trying to figure out how far we could go. And we decided we didn't need to go to the grocery store this Monday like we normally do. Now, we came up against a roadblock because we realized the one thing we're missing is mayonnaise, and boy, do we value our mayonnaise. But we're going to hold off. We're going to hold off till next week and then get some mayonnaise. So, it doesn't have to be food rationing. It's just, okay, we're only going to go once a week So what do we need to buy, or how much do we have, or how much do we need in order to get us through? So sorry to interrupt there,
Maybe
but
food planning.
Right. Exactly. Yeah, planning those trips. And so what other projects have you got to suggest to our families?
Kind of along that same idea with the food situation. So I know I mentioned last week, and maybe we can put it on the 3-ax math. So Dan Meyer is a really, really big proponent of 3-ax math. And there's one particular one that he does that always is my favorite to share with people and that sticks in my mind. It's titled Sugar Packets. And so it starts with this commercial. It's a commercial that was famous years back. Well, I don't know if famous is the word, but whatever. It was active years back. And it shows a guy seated between another two people. I can't remember. But anyways, they are drinking, like soda or whatever it is they're drinking. And he sits between them and starts opening these sugar packets and just dumping them in his mouth. And they're looking at him like he's crazy. And then it says, you wouldn't eat blank sugar packets, so why would you drink? And so then the second act is for kids to learn to read labels and how much sugar's in a label. So they give them the labels for sodas, they give them the labels for sugar packets. And you end up realizing in Act 3 when it plays it through that it's like 17 sugar packets. It was something ridiculous amount. So learning how much sugar is in food is huge. And in any food you wouldn't think it doesn't taste sweet. And, you know, like a piece of bread. If you go look at the amount of sugar in a piece of bread, I'm always like amazed at what sugar is in that I guess when I think of sugar, well, before, I would think of desserts. But sugar's really in everything. And so a really great way of looking at that is learning to read labels. There's so much math in labels. And comparing and talking about what's normal and researching the different things that are put into our food is really, really important as well, I think. So that would be another really great one to do.
So that website that you mentioned, did you say 3-act math?
Yeah, 3-acts, A-C-T-S.
Oh,
but
3
I
acts,
think
okay.
the website itself, the way you get to it is by going to Dan Meyer's blog. So you could probably just type into Google Dan Meyer 3-acts math. And if you want to go a step further, you can put sugar packets. It'll probably bring up the one.
Okay. Well, I did the Googling, and we're going to post this website on our Facebook feed again. So what else have you got for our families?
I would say another thing that I've thought about a lot is estimation. I think estimation is something that we've kind of lost the art form of. On the little videos that I'm doing, actually, I did a bunch ahead in advance, and so next week I'm going to be going into estimation. But there's one website that's really, really great. It's called estimation180.com. So estimation is spelled out, and then 180 is the numbers, 180.com. And on estimation180.com, kids are given different things, and they have to estimate, and they have to put a guess of what do you think is too low. And they always tell you push them a little bit, because if they say 0, well, yeah, obviously. But what would be a good estimation of what is absolutely too low for the guest to be? What's a good estimation of what's absolutely too high? What is your estimation and why? And so it's a little thing they fill out to the right side, and then they can click on it, and it gives them the answer once they've estimated it. So that's a really cool thing. But even being outside, I mean, you could take a tree branch and estimate how many leaves do you think are on that branch?
Yeah.
Or, you know, even in ratios for the older kids of, you know, if there's 8 petals on this one rose, how many do you think are on the whole bush? You know, like tiles on a floor, clothes in a laundry basket. I mean, come on.
There we go.
Grapes in a bunch. Just really kind of making it a game to estimate whatever it is that you see around you to estimate. It's funny because it doesn't seem like math, but it absolutely is. I remember at one point early in my career, I gave kind of like a pretest just to see what basic skills kids had. And this was actually in 9th grade. And one of the questions was, I think it was like 100 minus 13 or something like that. Mm-hmm. And I got so many questions that were, so many answers of 187 because they forgot to, you know, they're following the steps and they forgot to cancel that final one. Where in reality, if you look at it, you're going down from 100. And if you could kind of estimate where it should be at, you'll be able to catch those mistakes a lot more easily. But a lot of times we get so into just following those steps that we miss the things that should be obvious.
Well, yeah, and especially with the tools at our fingertips nowadays, people say learning your times tables isn't quite as important as it used to be because we've all got a calculator in our back pocket. But if you don't have that ability to estimate, you don't know if you've got sausage fingers like mine. You hit a wrong key. You may be way off and not know it if you're not able to estimate. Now, Amber,
Right.
I know that last week you also mentioned the importance of getting up, and I mentioned that because I just had to get up off my stool here in the studio. The importance of getting up and moving around during math class, during math time. Can you talk to us a little bit more about that?
Yes. Movement's so important. People don't realize that. It's like, I remember when I was an assistant principal, they challenged us to shadow a kid. One kid, shadow them throughout the whole day. And this was in a middle school. And it was so eye-opening, the amount of time these kids spend just sitting.
Yeah.
I mean, I was having a hard time keeping myself awake. And so it's like getting that oxygen flowing to the brain is so important. Making it engaging and fun is so important. So we've even said corny things like, have you heard of trash get ball?
No, but I can imagine what it is. I used to play in middle school all the time.
Yeah, so we've even brought corny little things that have nothing to do with math, but you can integrate it kind of like how Price is Right does.
Yep.
So you could have them do certain math problems, and the amount of problems that they either get correct or can explain their thinking if it's wrong to get it correct. So again, we want to emphasize that learning from our mistakes is good. But they can earn a balled up piece of paper or something to that effect to toss into the trash at a certain distance away. It sounds corny, but there's a certain motivation that kids get really excited about being able to shoot as many baskets as they can, and so they become really, really intent on trying those problems really hard and getting them right, or at least thinking through them. So it's corny, but stuff like that actually really does help get kids involved. I saw online that there was a family that put all the answers to different questions as papers on the wall. And the kid had a Nerf gun. Did you see it?
Yeah, I saw that. Yeah, and rather than saying the answer, he was moving around the room, shooting the correct answer on the wall. It was this massive multiple choice problem. Yeah, that is awesome. That is awesome.
I loved that. I thought that was so good. And even word problems, I constantly harp on the importance of word problems for several reasons. Number one, in the real world, most likely you're not going to come across, what is 30% of 152.
Right.
You'll come across to a store and there's a dress on sale and you have to figure it out. And so I always tell people, in my opinion, word problems are the most important part, but they're also the scariest part. So I've always told people, act it out or draw it out. There's so many different ways to approach it. So my son came home with a fractions problem on chocolate chip cookies. And it says how this lady started out with 24 chocolate chip cookies, and somebody came by and ate 1/6 of them, and then what was left, somebody else came by and ate another quarter of them, and so it walks through. And I was like, well, I guess we're gonna have to bake some cookies and knock this one out. So not so good for my waistline, but it was great for word problems.
Hey, it's all in the name of a strong education. Life is a word problem. Now, Amber, if our families are still struggling, can they call you directly, make appointments with you to tutor maybe any day, Monday through Friday, anytime 1 to 10 p.m. for free?
Yeah, let's do that.
Okay, I actually met someone last week that does offer that service, and she shares a first name with you, Amber Vonnegut from the Santa Clarita Public Library, and her team will actually tutor your kids for free. Just contact them at the SantaClaritaLibrary.com, SantaClaritaLibrary.com. Amber, thank you so much for coming back. You've always got so many resources. We'll have to have you back again real soon. I know there's a team meeting that you've got to get to. Tell the boss that I will be there soon, okay?
Yes. And you meant Shannon Vonnegut. I don't want to do her wrong.
I'm sorry. I did. I even wrote down Amber Vonnegut. It's Shannon Vonnegut from the Santa Clarita Public Library. Thank you, Amber. I appreciate that.
Yes, yes.
All righty,
It's
we
been
do
my
have to
pleasure. I
get
always
to our
enjoy it.
last commercial break, but when we come back, we're going to be talking to licensed marriage and family therapist Christina DeBray. You're listening to SCVi Charter Schools Eye on the Valley, Homeschooling Answers. I'm Matt Watson on your hometown station, KHTS.
And now, a cooking tip from Keith Mowry of Bob's Country Meats. Cooking brisket is simple, whether you do it in the oven or on the grill.
Okay, briskets come out nice. You want to brown them up real good on the barbecue over a medium heat. Season them up however you like. Wrap them in foil. Put them on the other side. Go down to a low temperature, low heat, and let that go for about 2.5, 3 hours, just on the low with the lid closed.
For the tastiest brisket in town, visit Bob's Country Meats on Soledad in Canyon Country.
A social distancing tip.
Putting distance between yourself and others is critical to slowing the spread of coronavirus. So here are ways to stay in contact without the physical contact part. Call, send a text, set up a video conference, post on social media, dedicate a song on the radio. If you have symptoms of fever, dry cough, and shortness of breath, call your healthcare provider before going to their office. For more info, visit coronavirus.gov.
Let's all do our part, because we're all #AloneTogether. Brought to you by the Ad Council.
Town Cleaners on Soledad is offering free dry cleaning for all first responders and medical personnel. Free pickup and delivery is also available. Call Mo at 250-1542. 250-1542. Town Cleaners on Soledad.
Hi, Kirk Stinson here with Plumbing by Kirk, your hometown plumber. With another tip, close your sink drain and remove your expensive jewelry when entering the shower to avoid costly plumbing expenses. But if it does happen, shut off the water immediately and call Plumbing by Kirk.
We invite you to visit our website for free plumbing advice at plumbingbykirk.com or give us a call, 263-6519. That's 263-6519.
My dad is the best plumber ever. Call Plumbing by Kirk.
Hey y'all, I hope you guys are staying safe and staying at home. My name's Devin. My dad owns the Burger King off the 5 freeway and Lyons Avenue. We are still open from business from 6 to 10 p.m. We have both our drive-thrus up and running finally. That took forever. However, on that note, I hope you guys come and help support the community. But I'm not supposed to let y'all know this, but if y'all use the Burger King app, y'all can get some great deals on there. They have some great coupons and all that. On that note, you guys can also pay through the app if you guys don't want to use cash or use your credit card to run germs around, so you can stay safe for that. Also, on that note, we do have Grubhub and Postmates coming up soon. We have Ubereats as of right now. You guys can use that anytime you guys feel like it. If you guys do not want to stay in your car, we do have our dining room open where you guys can go in and do takeout and then eat in your cars in the parking lot. We do have to make sure that y'all stay 6 feet apart. There are markings on the floor. But I do have a little story for y'all. I remember the Santa Clarita fires years ago. My dad got a call from Jerry from the radio station asking us if we could help and feed the firefighters. My dad told everyone, let's go. So all the kids, and including my mom, we all went down to the business, opened it. We were closed that day. And then we had to call up a couple of friends to help us make about roughly 200 to 300 burgers. And we delivered it to the firefighters to make sure that they were taken care of, because that's what we're all about, is helping our community. But not only that, my dad's also all about helping his employees. He did order some extra toilet paper for them to take home, because he knows that it's hard to find toilet paper around here. He just wanted to make sure that the community and his employees were all taken care of. Please stay safe. I hope you guys get through this crisis right now. We're here to help. We're here to support y'all. Enjoy the rest of your day. Bye, y'all. P.S. I forgot to mention that right now, I don't know the exact time limit, but for right now, we are doing a special deal on the app, or you can mention to the employees that anything that you buy, including, for example, if you buy a Whopper combo, you will get 2 free kids meals without the toys, so we can take care of your little ones if you are sort of struggling there. We just want to make sure that everyone's taken care for, even your kids and even you. So don't forget to mention that, or go on to the Burger King app. There are a bunch of great deals on there that'll help you out.
Your hometown station, KHTS.
Welcome back. You're listening to KHTS, your hometown station, 98.1 FM and 1220 AM. This is Matt Watson, and you're listening to Eye on the Valley, Homeschooling Answers. I'm going to make sure that I get my next guest name correct because I've been having trouble with names today. Called Mayor Smythe, Mayor Smith. I referred to our city librarian as Amber Vonnegut. Her name is Shannon Vonnegut. But we're welcoming in our licensed marriage and family therapist, Christina DeBray. Christina, good morning. How are you doing?
Good morning. You got my name right. A+.
All right. Well, I think right about it now. I'm about a C- at best. Now, yesterday, Amber, look at that. I did it. Yesterday, Christina.
Fail.
Right. Yesterday, we talked about how everybody's coping with things differently. Even though we're going through the same pandemic, we all cope with things differently based on our background, our experience, things like that. You made us realize that because we're all going through this together doesn't mean we experience it in the same way, nor do we cope in the same way. Can you talk to us about how people are coping with these things differently?
Okay, so one of the things that happens is because this whole crisis is going on, our stress response is engaged, right? So we have the parasympathetic nervous system and the sympathetic nervous system. So we now are mostly having our sympathetic, which is our fight, flight, freeze system engaged. So that is when there's a threat coming, right? So we talked before about when the bear is chasing you. This is what's on when the bear is chasing you. So because right now this is an invisible crisis, it is very hard to know what to fight, flight, freeze from. So what happens is one of the ways in which people cope is when our stress response is engaged, we lose the ability between understanding what is a real, actual threat, for example, the bear, or whether it's a perceived threat, right? Maybe a leaf falls, and you're like, oh, no, it's a bear, right? Mm-hmm. So one of the things that I'm seeing right now is this is what's going on with toilet paper. So, we have a shortage of medical supplies, and I am freaking out. We're going to run out of toilet paper. Let's hoard some toilet paper.
So people are hoarding toilet paper as a coping mechanism.
Yes.
It's a way of seizing control, okay.
And then it can sort of become a self-fulfilling prophecy.
Sure.
Because we see everyone else hoarding toilet paper, and then we're freaking out, and oh, no, we're not going to have toilet paper, so I'm going to start getting toilet paper. And then the people who are in that rational headspace are saying, oh, hey, why is everyone hoarding toilet paper? This is the most ridiculous thing. We can't solve the COVID crisis. But meanwhile, someone says, hey, I'm going to the grocery store. Do we need anything? And you say, hey, if they have some toilet paper, get some. Right? So we might not even be aware that we're participating in this process, and that's because it's coming from this very animal-driven survival place within ourselves. So one of the things, and really the reason why people do this is because they're looking to feel a sense of relief and control, and that's important from a survival standpoint. So here are the three things you can do.
Can you hit them really quick because we do have a hard out coming up? Okay.
Okay. Stay in the present. Monitor habits, emotions, and thoughts. Focus on what you can control. And if you're struggling with these three things, get help.
Okay, terrific. Now, Christina, let's do a deep dive on that tomorrow. I promise I'll give you more time tomorrow. Unfortunately, we do have to cut it short today. I got everybody's name wrong. We went deep in math, and so we do have to cut it short. But let's go a lot longer tomorrow. We will be back tomorrow and every Monday through Friday at 9 a.m. Tomorrow we'll be joined by Superintendent of the Sulphur Springs School District, Catherine Kawaguchi, and much more. You're listening to your hometown station, KHTS.